What's up, everyone? This is your boy Julian with Clout Finder, and I'm sitting down with the amazing Enrico Moses. Thank you for being here today, Enrico. How are you doing
Yes.
today?
Feeling blessed, feeling blessed. Tomorrow is my daughter's ninth birthday and going to
Oh, wow.
Legoland. So she's all excited about that. And then me and my fiance are getting ready to go out to the Lightning in a Bottle festival on Thursday. So just preparing for all these things. So I'm feeling good about all that. And yeah, just getting ready for everything. How you feeling? Thanks for having me on.
Man, I'm great. First off, nine, that's crazy. Time is
Yeah,
flying.
it
Man,
is.
and you always stay up with the different music festivals, Lightning in a Bottle. I haven't been to that one yet. I definitely gotta, catch up and get on that Lightning and Burning Man with you one of these days.
Yeah, I think you'll like it a lot, to be honest, especially just
Hmm.
your energy and being open-minded. I'm actually doing a talk at Lightning in a Bottle, but yeah, there's a lot of different components to it. It's kind of a consciousness festival. There's meditations, there's sound baths, there's like TED Talks. Dr. Cornell West is going to be out there doing a talk this year. So there's always like really interesting people to meet beyond just the music side of things, and there is like really dope music too. So yeah, if you or any of the listeners ever get the chance, I highly suggest it.
Okay, awesome, awesome. Before we kind of like, man, that's not even something I was prepared to, but we'll definitely go down that path. But before we kind of start, I want people to know who you are. So can, you just give the people just a little brief background on yourself? I don't know if you can be a brief because you do so much, but just kind of like hop into who Enrico Moses is.
Yeah, I consider myself a creative entrepreneur. I've done several creative projects, from technology to blockchain to fashion to retail to cannabis, to live events and music. A curious person. I love to read. I love to learn. I love to find value, build community, link up with like-minded people. And so yeah, I'm just somebody who like I said, I'm a curious, passionate person. I'm really passionate about helping the Black community. I grew up in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and just dealt with many different levels of racism, and also I see how that bleeds into just different different problems that we have today. So I'm really all about uplifting people of all different backgrounds. But I know that Black people have been specifically targeted in the past, so I do like to actually specifically help Black people to be able to shorten this gap that seems to be there.
Okay, awesome, awesome. And so you do so much. You're very powerful in like retail, fashion, events, marketing, business. Like I know you've done a couple campaigns in that area. Cannabis, we've met in the cannabis world
Hmm.
originally. Content and now crypto, and I think DJing. Just so much.
Hmm.
Where did it all start for you?
Oh, that's a interesting question. I would just say, like, I think about just being younger. Like I said, I've always been curious and passionate. I played instruments at a young age. I started playing the saxophone when I was probably like 7 or 8. Um, yeah, I used to like go down the block selling ice cream. So I've always had this entrepreneur spirit, with lemonade. And we used to like do performances when I was 16. I remember renting out the VFW, or I think it was the VFW, and getting insurance, throwing a party, DJing it. Nobody really taught me these things. A lot of it was just like, I'm gonna just do it. It sounds good. I would go talk to people, and yeah, my family always made me believe in myself. Like, if you believe in yourself, if you put in the work, you could do it. And so I think that's just something that's been around the Moses family spirit growing up.
That's amazing, and it's so funny. We have like a very similar path. because even at the ages that you were mentioning, like I wasn't selling ice cream, I was selling like candy and
Mhm.
golf balls I would find. And
Mhm.
I wasn't DJing it, but I would throw different parties around like age 15, 16.
Mhm.
And you're right, it's weird because it's like that entrepreneur, it's like a creative entrepreneurial spirit where it's like I don't necessarily I'm not doing this for a reason. I just kind of see that this looks fun and no one
Mhm.
else is doing it. And I don't
Right.
realize why no one else is doing it because someone should be doing it, so I'll do it.
Yeah, and on that tip, I think about that a lot. I think about it, I'm a spiritual man. I believe in God a lot. And I think sometimes it's like God is putting you to do these things, and while we're doing it, it might feel a certain way, like you're the one doing this interview, and there's certain people that do things, and it's just like it's like Michael Jordan's Michael Jordan, and like there's all these different like, and then there was the Bulls owner. It's like, well, why is he the Bulls owner? Or like why, it's like we can all be thinking about that, and I think we're all here to do something. We're all here to bring something to the table, and I think that's the beautiful thing about community. It's like you were throwing the party right at 15, and then you might have had like this one dude who like knew a bunch of the girls. That might have been you, but that might have been your best friend or something. You know what I mean? And that's how it
Yeah.
was for me. It was just like, yeah, I'm doing this part, but like everybody's kind of doing these other pieces. Maybe there's this one dude, he's a great dancer. And so at the actual event, people had entertainment. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And he was the one to do that because he's been practicing dance moves for years. You know what I mean? So it's like I think it's interesting that we all are the one, like we're the one to do the thing. It's just we got to figure out what is that thing, even if it's just being the audience, right? Because if you're in the NFL, yeah, it ain't gonna be as fun being in them stadiums if they're empty. So the
100%.
audience, the audience has just almost just as much importance, if not more. Like it would take away, any energy if they weren't there. Do you know what I mean? So it's like I think I'm starting, and I see that more as I get older. Like some people have like main character syndrome. You know what I mean? But it's like you can't have a movie without the extras, and yeah, whatever. It's the main character, but everybody's super important. I feel like.
Well, oh wow, main character syndrome, especially, being around LA, we see it a lot.
Right.
And it's a double-edged sword because on one end, I think, I feel like we have main character syndrome a little bit in the sense of going back to that confidence you're talking about. Like you have to believe you're the one. You have to believe that
Yes.
there's something in you that can just like do what you want to do because you want to do it. And the world's going to, not revolve around you, but it will work on your behalf for you to be able to get these things done as you go. And then you just go. And I
I
think,
I agree with that. I would say so. I would like when it comes to main character syndrome. There's kind of like two sides to that, right? So you can be a
mhm,
main character, but you could also be like uh conscious and caring to the staff, right? Or you could be the main
mhm.
character and be an asshole to everybody you're working with. Those are they're both main characters. And I think um, my vision is just like, okay, like can you be the main character with also like realizing like, yo, the dude who stood into your spot like is really super important. Like, yeah, you're the main character, but it's like, you know, a lot of times I don't think the movie stars even make the most in the film. A lot of times it's like the producers and stuff like that, and so and if you notice, like I think that's one of the issues with Hollywood is like the people who are really good, but they're like maybe an asshole, they might not get as far. Where someone like I think of like Adam Sandler who works with all his friends, right? He's the main character, but it's like he's bringing everybody and it has a whole energy to it. So that's
Well, I
kind of
think
like
that's part of it. I think that's part of it. I think that's part of actually being like a fake main character and a real main character. Like you can say to yourself like, "Oh, I'm the main character," and then you can be a an a-hole and walk around and try to impose your will on it. But if you're really like a quote unquote main character, when you step in a room with other characters, 'cause you're not the only character that exists in the world, you're going to socially interact with them in a way, and you're going to come together and you're going to do something. And
Mhm.
a true main character in their own world is able to recognize the greatness in someone else and, assist in helping
Mhm.
someone else do what they're going to do in life. That's
1,000%.
like a side quest. You know what I mean? If
Mhm.
you're
Mhm.
looking in the, hero's journey and the different things, studying, script breakdowns and everything like that. And so even look at us. I feel like, how we met, we were you were throwing an event and I was working with Malcolm Hood from Hippo Treats with the
Mhm.
social media because of the Zach connection.
Mhm.
And we met and on the fashion tip, I told you, hey, I really like your bracelet because I'm not a hater. I see someone who's looking good, I'm gonna be like, yo, that's dope.
Mhm.
And you took that bracelet off and you put it on my wrist,
Mhm.
and we've been connected ever since.
Mhm.
And we've been different events, different collaborations, different putting bringing things together because we both had room for each other because we have confidence in who we are as people.
Mhm. I love that story, and yeah, I made that bracelet, and a big
Mm,
part of doing that was I met somebody here in LA. He had a clothing line by the name of Rad Uncle and Rad Human, and like he would give away so much stuff. Like he would give away all these hats, and I was just like, man, that's so powerful. Like being able to give gifts. And it's the fact that I made it, and so I was just like, I want to be that type of person. And it was something where I'm like, man, that's hard for me. It's easier for me to receive as a younger person than it is to give, and so that was just like a practice that I've been getting into. But I love that because it's kind of talking about how like I'm learning how to be that character by other people. You know what I mean? And being inspired by that, which I think is what this is all about. That's I think how you do become a really good main character. It's like you'll be around Denzel Washington, you're like, damn, like look at how he's moving. It's like that's actually I want to move a
absolutely.
little bit more like that, and so yeah, I think that's something that that's one of the things I really do appreciate about LA is that like you can dodge the fake main characters and you can learn from the real main characters.
Absolutely. Well, here, even with LA, and it's very interesting. Like energy is real.
Hmm.
Energy is a very real thing. So, like, when you're in a room with someone, you could tell who has it and who doesn't immediately.
Hmm.
Immediately. Like, I think ASAP Rocky always comes to mind on this. I was doing like the Dapper Dan commercial set, and ASAP Rocky was the lead. And I wasn't doing anything big. I was just there. I was playing my role. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And ASAP Rocky's energy, like literally his energy, like you could feel it, like
Hmm.
without saying a word. Like this dude floats and he
Hmm.
just moves, and he's just ASAP. That's
Hmm.
just who he is. And
Hmm.
literally, I'm there being a background because this is early, and we connect energetically because like even though I'm a background, I'm playing my role and doing what I'm supposed to be doing. But you could literally feel like his aura. It's like it wasn't a word that was being said. Someone who else has very strong aura was Willie Jones. I don't know if you know
Hmm.
Willie, but Willie Jones has very strong presence, aura. Um,
Hmm.
who are some of the people who come to your mind? Nipsey Hussle had very strong presence as well. Um,
Um, you know, uh Jeezy. I've ran into Jeezy a couple times, and like his energy is yeah, he has like, he's in the building. Um Lil Wayne, he just has like a wild energy where it's just like, and he's been a celeb for so long, but I've been around dude and seen how that energy just is very natural. A lot of hip hop artists do have that in a certain way. I'm trying to think non hip hop artists who have that energy. It's interesting. I think I like the tech space is very fascinating because it's like I think some of the leaders have that energy because they care so much about helping people. I think certain people who are magnets, it's like the world, the universe is like rewarding people for the energy that they give off, right? So if I'm around you and I'm like, man, that hour with Julian, like I feel uplifted, I might not even tell anybody this, but the way the world works, it's like, bro, it's crazy. Like people will find value. Like I'll put it like this, man, and I've seen it happen. I've had it happen. Let's say you start making hella bread, like you make $1 million in a month real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you being super low key, you gonna find like all these people that you don't even know, they're gonna start coming kind of at you. You know what I mean? With like opportunities, propositions, and it's like energy. Like the world feels energy, and people will go find it. It's kind of like gold. You know what I mean? And oil. It's like, man, they'll find it. Like we have this thing inside of us that's part of our kind of our instructions, right? So the way I believe in God is like God creates order, right? So it's like I wake
Okay.
up, the sun rises, the birds are chirping, right? The bees are pollinating, and God creates all that order, right? And it's like that's the same order that draws us to value. You know what I mean? Like as humans, that's part of our instructions. Like the bees are pollinating, that's their instructions. Like we as humans, it's a little bit more abstract, but we're drawn to create value for not even just ourselves, because something that's valuable for just ourselves isn't essentially as valuable as something that's valuable for a lot of people. You know
Facts.
what I mean? And so I just think that like on a vibration level, an energetic level, that's going on, and like and I like studying that. I like thinking about, it's like, wow, look at these people who are just attracting energy, and then they're able to like take that and whatever, they'll sell a t-shirt, or they'll sell a hat, or they'll sell some beats. You know what I mean? So it's like
Mm-hmm.
this is and that's a lot what hip hop is. It's why I do love hip hop, because it is like this form of energy. It's also like it's the same thing about finding the value. Like most people, it don't matter where you're from, if you have a really good hip hop crew and they got their linoleum down and they got the beats and they break dancing, most people are not going to be able to walk past them and not look, bro, and not admire what's going on. Do you see what I'm saying? Like that's why
Yeah,
breakdancing broke through,
it's
because
undeniable.
it's undeniable. Same thing with graffiti, bro. Like you see a good piece and it takes your attention away from what you were doing, right? Someone who's on the mic and they got a good flow, they making everybody say, hey ho, like you can't stop but want to be there. You're not going to leave the party because you're like, yo, he's rocking the mic right now. You know what I mean? And so I'm saying all this because I want people to think about these things, because they're like natural occurrences. And people try to belittle them. Like people were belittling the people spinning on their heads on the linoleum. You see what I'm saying? But now it's a probably trillion dollar industry of just hip hop as a whole. And so these things exist all over. Hip hop is an invention, that came out of thin air, and now it's creating all this money, people buying houses. It's real, and so that's true for a lot of different things that people can manifest, can create. and it comes down to like what's undeniably valuable.
Absolutely. And kind of taking that line of thinking, like crypto seems to be one of like your new primary focuses, and it's kind of emerging in very much a similar way. You know,
Mhm.
people gravitating to value in this energy that you're speaking of.
Right.
And so what drew you to this? What do you think is the thing that is the draw for everyone else that you're seeing right now? And where do you think we're going?
All right. So crypto has properties to it that are valuable um, within the protocol, within the way that you can compare crypto to the current uh, assets that might be equivalent to crypto, right? So let's say something like gold. So we're talking about value, we're talking about even like now currency, cryptocurrency. um a lot of people over the years have invested in or mined or held gold and silver and copper, right? So let's just use gold as those three. And so if I'm going to use gold as a store of value, right? So meaning I have that $10,000 of value and I'm going to buy gold with it because there's all these things that can happen to the fiat money system, right? So if I hold cash, I run risk right now. So we're just getting into the details of like what makes crypto valuable. So if I hold a $10,000 in fiat, I risk inflation, right? So I risk over the years that money being worth 10,000 going down to 9,000, 8,000, right? And what I can actually purchase with that money, right? So some people are like,
Diminishing
okay, I'm going to
purchasing power.
diminishing purchasing power, right? So, which means that's why people are like investing in stocks or investing in assets that can go up in value, right, rather than go down in value like their cash. So many people, buy things like gold and all these other assets. So gold is very popular around the world. It's like for years, for decades, it's been used as one of the main trading commodities. Now, when you compare gold to crypto, there's certain attributes that crypto has that gold doesn't have, right? So currently, I can purchase $1 million of Bitcoin, and in order to transport it, let's say I want to go from America to anywhere in the world, I can literally just have 12 words memorized or written down somewhere. And I can now go anywhere in the world and I won't have that gold confiscated, right? So the security cost of me having that $1 million of gold goes down to literally zero. Now, if I wanted to travel from America to anywhere in the world with $1 million worth of gold, how much money would I have to invest in securing that? Do you see what I'm saying? It might be
Mhm.
10, 20. The price goes up higher and higher because now it's worth $1 million for someone to steal that gold from me. Clear and simple, $1 million. So they can even invest $500,000 to steal that $1 million of gold, and they have a $500,000 return, right? So there's things about crypto that are emerging components that I feel like actually give it an advantage to something like gold. Another thing is very easy for someone to even just come into your home and confiscate your gold, right? So there's so many things that I'm seeing that exist within crypto: the transportability, the low cost of security, um, and also just how the government is starting to impose all these extra taxes and all these extra things where it's like, what if you wanted to move somewhere that didn't have these same taxes, and for whatever reason, the government is stopping you, or is blocking your bank account, or is where you have your gold stored, they're putting liens on it, and all these things, like, they might have the legality to do that, and you might now have to fight them in court, is what I'm saying. Do you see what I'm saying? And 5, 10 years later, you might get your stuff back because you legally actually had the right to do that, but they also have the legal right to
Time value
stop
of
you.
yeah, the value of time.
So again, like I'm looking at these things from a philosophical level of why should you think about owning different currencies? Like, what's the point of that, right? Like, what's the point of having cash? What's the point of having any currency? And um, yeah, we have both seen. I'm 41 years old. Like, I've seen the dollar crash over my lifetime. I remember being able to go to the store with a dollar and leave with a bag full of shit. Like, swear you would have a soda can, you'd have a bag of chips, you'd have all types of candy. You know what I mean? It's like
Mhm.
now you ain't even getting a candy bar for a dollar, bro. Good luck. You know what I mean? Like it's ridiculous how the prices of everything have like pretty much tripled or quadrupled or 4 or 5x. Like growing up, gas was $1. Now it's $5. That's 5x. And so yeah, I think those are one of the reasons, and then there's a lot of other reasons. I think the invention of the smart contract is really amazing. I think the concept of having trustless communities is really interesting. So let's say I buy Bitcoin, right? And I'm like, hey, I've heard about Bitcoin. I like it. I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna hold it. Me and you might have done the same thing 5 years later, right? We might not know each other, but now we're literally on the same team. We're in this trustless community where we're now incentivized for this asset, which is true for any asset. If you buy Microsoft and I buy Microsoft, we ain't gonna go online shit talking Microsoft. Why would we do that, right? We have an incentive for the price of Microsoft to go up, right? The only reason we might do that is because we think it's gonna help the price go up, but you don't shit on your bags essentially, and
You don't
so
budge your back. Yeah.
yeah, you don't fudge your base. So I like I like that. I think that's innovative. Um, yeah, I think that's going to keep expanding. I think we haven't even seen the beginning of what that truly means, but I think that you see it online. Like, you see the laser eyes. It's like, okay, like laser eyes. Like, I believe in Bitcoin and, I'm a Bitcoin maxi. It's just like, I think that's cool. And I think that communities are just how we as humans, like, we naturally come together around ideas, whether you're a Bulls fan or Timberwolves fan, you like MMA, we start to join communities around the things we like. I
We're
think
social creatures.
say it again.
No, I was saying, building on what you're saying, we're social creatures.
Exactly. We are. And so I think this to me is it's okay, how would I explain it? It's like we're moving into this new crossover where everything in the world up until this point has been physical, right? In order for me to make money, I needed to go harvest something out of the earth, and create this like physical thing. The internet, now we start having the ability to make money through digital assets, right? So it's like even just on a website, it's like nothing really physically got created. Like, yes, there's definitely the computer components need to be made, but like it's actually very low cost, right? Making money on a website. When people started selling ebooks, that's when I was like, oh wow, like
And scalable.
and scalable, because that was the first time in my life I was like, this is the future. Like everything is going to change, because I think it was about 2001 or no 2003 I started learning about ebooks, and like it was like ClickFunnels, and all these people were making millions of dollars selling ebooks, and I was just like, I had a store at the time. I'm flying to New York. I'm flying to LA, to Vegas. I'm carrying shit. I'm like, yo, they're making money and they don't have to ship nothing. I'm like, that's the future. And ever since then, I went heavily into tech. I went heavily into learning more and more about technology. I started a startup. I raised some capital, but we're here now. And as you know, Satoshi Nakamoto, the inventor of Bitcoin, to me, he created that magic moment. What was it? 2011 when Bitcoin was
9,
created.
I think so.
2009. He created that magic moment where he kind of, I don't want to say he invented it, but he brought it to mainstream, the proof of work concept of, in order for you to get this digital asset, you have to do something in the physical world, right? So there's this physical work engine that's similar to, if I'm gonna go get gold, I have to invest in mining it, right? Like right now, there's no way to just poof magically make gold. You literally have to go and mine it. And that's the same thing with Bitcoin. Like the only way to get Bitcoin is to mine it or to buy it from someone who mined it.
Mhm.
That's it, right? And so same thing with gold. It's like you get gold by mining it or buying it for someone to mine. And so that magic moment, you go from everything is physical to, wow, oh, now you can have this new digital GDP, let's call it, right? So this magical moment is real, and now you have trillions of dollars that can be stored literally digitally, because we also live in a digital world. Look, we're talking on a digital platform. I'm not in the same room as you. You're not in the same room as me. Yet we're having a normal conversation, and more than that, it's being recorded. So beyond just us being in a room talking to each other, millions of people can now view this after we're done playing it, and
And they're
more. Who
viewing
knows?
right now.
And watching right now, and so it's like, and then that's going to continue going into the future. You never know. 100 million people might watch this by the year 21, whatever, 100. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, and that's also scalability. You know, that's taking something that's physical, that turning it digital, and it makes it more and more scalable. Right? We don't have to.
It's the only.
We
Oh,
don't
I
have
was
to
just.
have this. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying because the only cost is this moment of creating this piece of digital content, and the reach is now whoever watches it. So every person who watches it from an attention point, that is a scalable activity, although it only is one moment in time of creation. And then let's
Yeah.
not even talk about repurposing. Let's not even talk about
Right.
being able to cut it, turn it into multiple assets. Now we're, reproducing, the moment into new assets and new moments and new scalability and new
Yes.
impressions and all of that. Sorry to cut your flow.
No, that is the flow, and all that. That's the digital world, right? And that also goes into cryptocurrency. So the same way that we can create this, same way you can create a Bitcoin, you can also chop it up, slice it up. You know, you can create NFTs. You can break up those NFTs. You could have a whole community, 10,000 people who own one NFT. And so um, there's so many ways that now we are able to create value without having to just extract things out of the earth. And that's very, very, very important for mankind, because we overconsumption is a thing. The ruining of the rainforest is a thing. The ruining of our oceans is a thing. Like animals being in the right order, is a thing, and messing up that order is a thing. All these things are very real, and I believe that crypto is one of God's inventions to solving this problem that we have
Mm.
of GDP being connected to resources that are pulling out of the earth, right? Because now, uh, like my daughter, she loves Roblox, like she loves when I give her Robux, and it's like she derives real value out of that. I don't have to go buy her a physical toy that someone had to make for her to get real value, right? So that circle is very important. Like the only thing that matters is real value. If my daughter gets a smile on her face, it doesn't matter if I bought something that's digital or something that's physical, right? That's the value. And so that's the connection to me that we are going to start entering more and more into a world where digital things do give us value, right? Like I told you, I'm going to a festival on Thursday. There's going to be digital festivals coming up, right? Where I'm going to be able to put on a headset, earphones, and I'm going to find value out of that, and I'm going to want to pay money to go to that, right? And that opens up a whole new revenue stream for people who want to experience that, people who want to throw those type of things. And so that's like a very, very small sliver of just like everything, of we already live in this digital world. So since we live in a digital world, we actually need digital currency to
Connect
work,
everything.
to connect everything. It's like we actually need it, because we were already transacting so much online, right? And then you had things like PayPal, you have credit cards, but these are terrible solutions for what we really truly need. Which sometimes it might even just be peer-to-peer value. It's like, hey, let me send you something that we both agree is valuable. It doesn't even have to be a specific currency.
Let's just call it cloud coin. But
Exactly.
it's literally, it's so interesting. There's a couple things you mentioned in your overall thesis that directly connects to the current modern creative. One was the fractionalized ownership of an NFT, where you said 10,000 people can own one NFT.
Yeah.
And then another thing that was very interesting was mentioning how, Robux from Roblox was something that your 9-year-old daughter is extremely interested in. So from the creative aspect of creatives entering into crypto, blockchain, NFTs, metaverse, everything that we know is coming, what skills does the modern, DJ, influencer, actor, painter, fashionista, or fashion designer, producer, what skills do they need to be able to leverage blockchain to be profitable within living their dreams the way they want to live their dreams?
Skills. I would say, you got to be curious.
Hmm.
Um, you got to be good at communicating and telling stories. I think that if any skill set, if you wanted to be successful in blockchain, the most important thing you can learn is how to tell stories. All the people that I've seen in blockchain that are rich, all they did was tell stories. All the people who start companies in blockchain, they get rich. Creators in blockchain get rich. It's like, so if you want to get rich or even make impact, like I would argue that Vitalik has also made impact. He's not just wealthy. And so a lot of these things are forks. A lot of the things that are successful are just forks. Like Dogecoin is a fork of a fork, and it's one of the biggest currencies out there. What is Dogecoin? It's a story, right? It's a story about this ticker, this dog, this community, right? And what do we know about it? It's like we know Elon Musk likes it. We know the price went up a lot, right? There's certain very basic things about these stories. What's the story of Bitcoin? People don't care too much. They care that the price went up. They care that if they can buy some, they can maybe make money. I'm just going to be honest. That's about the gist of it. And a lot of people
I
think,
think there's more to that story, but I hear you.
well, what I'm saying is like for the average consumer, like there's definitely
Yeah.
more to Bitcoin than, yeah, all what I just said, but like the average person does not care. The average person doesn't care about the stock market. They don't care. The average person doesn't care about Microsoft or Apple stock. They just care, can they retire and make some money? Can they make money? And
Are
I
they
think,
safe?
yeah, is it safe? Are they, is it a scam? Um and this is all like Apple is a story. Look, like Steve Jobs is one of the best storytellers of all time. That's why Apple makes sense. Disney, they tell stories. Nike, it's a storytelling company. Every company that you can think of that's well known, all they do is tell stories. Tesla, like Elon Musk is one of the best storytellers of all time. Like everything he does is about a story. Like a good looking electric vehicle, that's Tesla. That's a story. That's a story in itself. And it's like you look at the new Tesla truck, it's like it's just a story, bro. Like the way it looks is a story. You see my point? Like, so
Mhm.
I think that, to the audience in blockchain, even if it's you being an employee, you're going to be an employee based on your ability to tell your story. Why should someone hire you? Why should you be the social media manager? Why should you be the lead developer? Why should you be the artist for this NFT project? Like, it's like, oh, I'm the artist because I did this art over here and I've done this and I've done that and I work for Disney and I did it. Like, that's what everybody is doing. And you have to make it make sense. You have to figure out what your story is. You have to figure out why should people care about your story. Like if you wanted to launch a cryptocurrency, you wanted to do a game, it's like it's beyond just the game, like especially in blockchain. It's like it's so much about like, well, why should people care about the game? What are the economics of the game? And some of this stuff is like just purely speculation, like I think the most successful things a lot of times they're speculation as long as possible, because once it gets real, then people can see that it's either real or fake. You know what I mean? So yeah, storytelling, and that transcends blockchain. Like you want to be good at business, you got to tell stories. You want to be good at nonprofit, you got to tell stories. So I just think that storytelling is probably one of the most important skill sets for anybody to have.
Okay. And all right, so I guess a natural immediate follow-up is, what are the components, in your opinion, of telling a good story?
Yeah, this is simple. This is what I tell my 9-year-old daughter. A good story has a great beginning, a middle that captivates someone, and a proper good ending. That's it. It's like it's not very complicated. Like when you think about blockchain, and I've had just really great mentors when it comes to blockchain, and people I've worked with, really successful projects, probably did 10, 20 million revenue alone, right? Some of the people that I'm talking to. And they're always like, yo, what's the narrative? What's the narrative? What's the narrative? And it's just like, the narrative is, what am I going to tell you about this project? Right. So it's like, if I have this yellow hat, what am I going to say about this yellow hat to you? That's what matters. Like everything else, don't like, we think all this extra stuff matters. It's like, oh, where is it? It's like, bro, that don't matter. What are they going to say about it? It's like, oh yeah, girls like this hat, or like, people always mention something about this hat. They like the color. It's like, what's the narrative of the hat? And I learned that when I had my store, where it's like, when I had my store in Minneapolis, I was selling menswear, like streetwear and stuff. And I remember one time this customer of mine was at my store before I opened up. I had a store in the mall. I opened at like 10. He was there at like 9:30. So I'm like, getting to the mall, open up. I'm like, yo, what's up? He's like, man, he was still wearing the outfit that he bought the day before from my store. He's like, bro, he was like, do you have another one of these outfits? I'm like, I'm just kind of like tripping, like, yo. He was like, bro, last night was so much fun. He was just like, last night was so much fun. He was just like, man, this fit was killing him. He's like, I need another fit like this. And at that moment, I realized, like, I'm not selling clothes. I'm selling experiences that you have while wearing my clothes. And I think that's the story, right? Like the clothes is not a story. The clothes is just fabric, right? It's like whatever, it's what it's made of. But the story is like, yo, bro, girls loved it. I was dancing. That's the story. You know what I mean? And so thinking about beginning, middle, and end, captivating, bringing someone in. When they're in, what's the story? Like a lot of people, there's like you gotta, what do they say, slay the dragon. It's like, what's the thing you gotta overcome? Like, why are you doing the thing you're doing? It's like, I'm selling clothes, but why? You know what I mean? Like, what's underneath that? It's like, oh, I'm here to help 10,000 black people buy houses. Okay, that's interesting. That's a story that makes people think. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, now I'm not just buying a shirt, I'm actually supporting this movement. We see that with like things like Tom's, but all the companies do that. It's like everybody has some type of like foundation or give back, because it's like, we want to know what's this all mean? What's this all for? What's the point of all this? And the ending, you got to end strong. That you captivate them, you're slaying the dragon. It's like, nobody wants a story that goes too long, right? Nobody
Mhm.
likes to be sold to, right? So if it's like something's going too long, it's like, yo, what's going on here, man? I don't trust this thing. And they keep going and going. So it's like, you kind of got to get in, tell your story, and get out. And I think a lot of that is just like, it's honoring their time, right? So it's like you're telling the story, you're honoring their time, you're telling the story in an efficient manner. So not too long, not too short, but you're actually explaining it so that they can get the meat of what you're actually trying to do, and they can decide, is this for me or not? Because at the end of the day, you're going to tell your story. And I've heard this quote: some will, some won't, who cares? That's it, right? Some will buy it, some will like it, some won't. Who cares? It doesn't matter. Like, that's your story, right? And that's your story. Whether people like it or not, you have to tell your story. But then you'll see who likes it, who doesn't, and then you can focus on the people who do like it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so, as far as narratives and cryptos going, we have different kind of like stories emerging on, whether this layer one is going to take over this layer one, crypto gaming, AI, a new narrative that's popping up that's actually getting like my attention for real is depends. So like out of all these narratives that you're hearing, which ones do you think are most compelling to you at the current moment? Yeah, I'm gonna just leave it right there.
Um, it's there honestly a lot of them are compelling. I would have to say, like, the AI stuff, the DPIN, gaming for sure, metaverse. Um, it's all layer one at layer twos. All that stuff I think is necessary. It's like maybe blockchain is like music. You know, there isn't really one music. There's no that just like, yeah, there's music, right? We got music, and music has a scale, right? And so it's like, to me, that's like crypto. It's like, okay, crypto's like music, and it's like crypto, you have cryptology, you have this, there's these things that have to exist, for it to like exist. And it's kind of like music, but it's like, then you have all these genres, it's like, what mood are you in? Like, sometimes I like hip hop, sometimes I like trap, sometimes I like jazz, sometimes I like house music. So it's like,
Mhm.
I think that's what the narrative, what makes sense to me is that, like, all these narratives are real. Some are going to win and some aren't, just like music, right? Some artists are going to rise to the top. They're going to resonate with people. And I think these are projects that have use case, that have users, and have stories that people buy into, right? Because sometimes you buy into a story and you're so bought into that story, but it just doesn't turn out to be real, right? And that happens all the time in crypto. And that's okay, because this is a speculative market. Speculation means you don't know what's happening in the future and you're guessing. And that can go good for you or it can go bad for you. That's why you're doing it. If you don't believe in that, just go get a job and save your money. It's like, that's the point of investing, is you don't know what's going to happen in the future, and you're hoping that it's going to go up. And so I think it's just being conscious of, like, what are the current narratives that are playing, because you have these different seasons, right? Uh you have like Bitcoin coming out, right? And you have like the ICO season, and then you have the NFT season. Now you probably have like the meme coin season, where it's like meme coins are just going crazy. And you got to remember, it's like, well, why is that popular right now? Like, why are meme coins so big in so many different areas? It's like, because they're this most simple narrative. It's like, you just said DPIN, bro. If I try to go explain DPIN to the average person, they're just like, bro, all right, that makes sense. But then it's like, okay, what should I buy? It's like, there's 1,000 DPINs. Do you see what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
that makes it a challenge for the average consumer, where it's like, hey, dog with hat. Ha, that's kind of funny. Like, man, I like that. That's all it takes, bro. Like, that's all it takes. Like, you like it, you think it's funny, hit the buy button, hold it. Now, if 20,000 people agree with that and they feel the same thing, that means more than DPIN with 1,000 people. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, you need this social network for it to really be valuable. So I'm not gonna really talk to. I wouldn't be like, hey, here's the narratives that I think you should be following. But I personally believe all the narratives they're all real. Like I said, I think people are gonna make money in every single narrative. I wouldn't be surprised in 10 years that there's a crypto AI rocking, there's a crypto depend rocking, there's all types of gamings rocking, just like there's all types of music rocking. And I don't think any of that stuff is going to slow down personally.
Okay. What then I'm gonna slightly change it, and then we're gonna start coming back into the physical world. So as music is, each narrative is its own genre. Where are you playing right now for fun? Like what has your attention? Because that's
Uh,
where you just like listening.
I like the music space a little bit. I like the Gala ecosystem. So they got like music, they have
Mhm.
games. So I'm interested. I'm not too active right
I
now.
have it together.
Say it again.
No, I said I have to check out Gala. Like that and Vulcan Forge are two gaming ones that I mean to get
I,
to. But I'm
I
sorry,
like I like
continue.
Gala. I like, yeah, their whole community, their network. I would also say, I think there's this new thing that I've been doing. Like I went to ETH Denver with my guy Gary Shang. I like the work that he's doing. He was working with Zuzalu, and they're creating these communities that are kind of pop up cities. Um, I think there's something there. I'm playing around there. Like it's less about crypto for me. It's more about community and like crypto. Everybody who is going to these things are very crypto native, and so I'm talking to a lot of creatives and entrepreneurs, and they're talking about like building on top of blockchain, which I'm also super interested in. Um, I think that like if you look at the last 10, 20 years, it's like the iPhone got really big and a lot of apps are built on top of the iPhone, like Uber and all these type of things that we now know. I think the same thing is going to happen with blockchain. It's like you're going to see new founders building apps on top of Ethereum and on top of all of these chains. And these apps, I think, are going to start being really useful in different ways, whether it's for music, whether it's for jobs, employment, um, whether it's for even just entertainment. Um, there's a lot of interesting things when it comes to advertising. I think that Facebook has a real huge monopoly. Facebook and Google have this big monopoly in advertisement and like data. And I think blockchain is actually has a it has like a solution for that, as far as like me being able to like get directly paid for um, doing certain things where it's like people are paying Google like $200 for me to like click certain things where it's like I could get some of that money. Do you see what I'm saying? If I'm the right customer for that. And I think blockchain has some solutions for that. So I'm playing in those spaces. It's mainly in the real world. I love my favorite blockchain project right now is called MetaLabel. So you can go to metalabel.xyz. They are essentially a lot of like real world physical products, events, and they connect it to the blockchain. I love that team. I love what they're building, how they're building it, how they're thinking about being a creative, how they're thinking about monetizing. So I highly suggest anybody that's listening to this go look up Meta Label. Yancey Strickler, I think, is one of the founders' names. He comes from Kickstarter, and his co-founder comes from Etsy. So they were very successful in Web 2. Now they're doing Web 3 stuff, and to me, that's like some of the most innovative stuff that I see. A lot of everything else seems very not exciting to me right now. I think there's some cool stuff, like there's some cool games, but it just is all evolving. We need a bigger market. I think we need more people to
Fact.
believe in crypto. And right now, it's like we don't deserve them. Crypto doesn't deserve them. It's very scammy. It's very hard. It's very clunky. They're better off not coming in and getting scammed. People don't have enough money to be scammed right now. So
Mhm. No,
yeah,
I feel that, bro. I never heard someone who is one of us, like in crypto, really say that. Where it's like we don't deserve them. but
Mhm.
I totally see it.
Yep.
Like as soon as you said it, that made complete sense to me because you know even the sentiment isn't all the way correct, at least in
Nah.
the echo chambers that I am playing in, because there's a lot of I haven't been here before energy. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? Like,
yeah.
with us, and I mean, I think you've gone to higher heights than I have personally, but, we've been able to have a lot of different experiences through real life, Web 1, Web 2,
Mhm.
meet a lot of different people, go a lot of different places, have a lot of different fun experiences. So when we got over here, we were just like, where's the opportunity and let's build.
Mhm.
And, there's so much with everyone else where it's like ego posturing and,
Yep. A lot
people
of
who
word salad.
exactly. And, and the scams and the people who aren't invested in doing work to, build real stuff. And it's like we have to figure out, and I'm trying to do my part in figuring out these solutions. But you're absolutely right where, we're on the right path,
Mhm.
but we don't deserve everybody yet. Uh,
Nah. It's coming. I think it has to honestly, like, I give Coinbase a lot of credit. They get a lot of shit from within the crypto community, but they're doing a lot of work to normalize it. Even the way the SEC, even the way the government's treating crypto, it's very it's just not clear. There's not clear laws. Like, people are using VPNs and money's getting stolen by company. It's weird. It's like, as an American, I have the right now to go on my phone and lose $100,000 gambling. Right now, it's legal. I can go to all types of casinos, probably hundreds of thousands of casinos within the United States, and lose all my money. Nobody has a problem with that. But if I invest $100,000 into a crypto company that I believe in, that's illegal, and they're trying to protect me. How? How are they trying to protect me when I can literally lose all my money gambling in like 1,000 ways, bro? It's such bullshit to me. You know what I mean? And so it's like, I'm a grown ass man, bro. If I buy some and I lose my money, that's on me, bro. Like, and I know people, whatever, they like want to sue her. It's like, nah, we have to move past that in our society, because if we don't, the rest of the world is gonna thrive, and America is gonna we're gonna be a
get
joke,
destroyed.
yo.
Yeah,
It's
we're
We're
gonna
gonna be a joke because we're not gonna be able to come up. All these outside places are gonna get rich and they're gonna get wealthy, and it's only gonna be a small percentage of people here. And so I'm not in crypto for that. I'm in crypto for the masses um to be able to communicate, transact without getting bombarded by a lot of the middlemen. And I think that's why crypto was invented. Get rid of the middlemen.
absolutely. And like I said, I was gonna bring this into something a little physical too, and you kind of already touched on it. But you're huge on whether you're DJing an event, throwing an event, going to events, speaking at an event. You're very event and experience heavy.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, shoot, one of my favorite events I ever went to was that Halloween masquerade we party you threw
Oh, word.
back in
That
the
was
day.
fun. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
that was
good.
a good day. That was a good
Oh
day.
yeah. Hell yeah.
Um, yeah, and so with blockchain, how do we bring blockchain into experiences in real life?
How do we bring blockchain into experiences? So, like, meaning, like, if I'm at an experience, and how can blockchain be a part of the experience I'm at? Or
Exactly. Like the physical, like, these, like you said with your clothes, the way your clothes played a part for, your guy who came back and wanted that shirt the next, your outfit literally played a role in his experience that he had at whatever event he went. And whether it's, NFT communities, whether it's being able to have VR, AR setups that directly connect into the metaverse, whether you're going and you're buying your drinks with, crypto, whether, people perform on stage and, to be there and interact with it, you get that creative's token of value on whatever blockchain they have. You know what I mean? Like these are just off the cuff of my head. I'm saying, so
Yeah, so
how do you feel integrating?
I think there's two things that I've seen so far that I think are interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Coachella did something this year where I think they onboarded like 40,000 people into crypto through this wallet experience they had where there was all these Easter eggs. And, I think if you did a bunch of them, you ended up getting an NFT out of the deal. I think that is very smart. Like, very, very, very smart. Like they're getting a lot of information, right? So like by people downloading the app, they're getting more information about the consumer, right? They're getting information about like people inside of Coachella and where they're at and what they're doing. And I think that's the future. I think, and I've talked to someone at ETH Denver who has an app that's a ticketing platform, and it's the same thing. It's a wallet, right? So it's a ticketing platform, like let's say whatever Eventbrite or all, there's a bunch of them. And but instead of it just being an app, it's literally a wallet too. So it's like it can track all of your spending. Like if you went to a house music event and you bought a bottle, it's tracking that. And next time you buy a ticket, it can understand the type of customer you are. You see what I'm saying? And it's like, and I think that there's ways that through the NFTs that like other people can then access that in a really valuable way. So then that like platform, it becomes more and more valuable. It's like, oh wow, like I get to tap into this consumer base that I know likes to go to this type of club event, likes to like spend this much money. And just to be able to have that data, but then to be able to do like cool things like maybe like an airdrop tickets, because it's like I think some of those things you have apps, but it's like because it's centralized, the centralized entity kind of blocks anything fun from happening, right? So it's like they're the only person that can do anything with that database. But let's say it's a decentralized app. Now you could say like, oh look, I can see all the people that went to Carl Cox's event. I can see all the people that went to this event. And then the world could do stuff with that information. It's like, and then think about it. It's like, oh, because I went to the Carl Cox event, it's like, man, I'm getting these offers for free tickets in my wallet. That's interesting. It's like, man,
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm gonna use that app more often. Like I like that. And then it's like, so that's from my point of view. But then from like the business point of view, they're like, oh man, we just offered this dude free tickets because we know he went to this event and he has a bunch of friends. So it's just like I think, where it's like right now, Facebook owns like that type of data. It's like they know everything you're doing, what you're going to, but it's like, what if it was more decentralized and like cool? And now I'm choosing, like, it's like, yeah, I'm choosing to make that public, right? And then because of that, I'm getting rewarded, which you saw what happened to the Bored Apes, right? You buy a Bored Ape, you got a airdrop, you got an airdrop, you got an airdrop. Like, bro, those airdrops added up to like $100,000, maybe more over the years, And
Mm-hmm.
so I think they're doing a really good job. Bored Ape was like their events. I've gone to events with some of my NFTs that were like gated. I think that's interesting. It does make you feel kind of like special. It's like a community. It's exclusive. I think those things are already in play, and I think those both could be worked on for like the next 10 years.
I feel that. I feel that. And I said I'm gonna keep this an hour, so I'm not gonna hold you too much longer. But
Mhm.
the last question I really want to ask you is, what's one positive perspective people can take with them into the rest of 24 from just everything you're seeing, all the opportunity you're seeing, and what's now possible?
Um, yeah, I think being honest. I think honesty is obviously important. Everyone knows to be honest is super key, but it's like being honest with yourself. things are changing really quickly, and the more you can be honest with yourself about how something maybe you thought was never going to change is actually changing, and how you can be honest about changing with it, and finding community that's also maybe scared, maybe being honest about you're scared that these things are changing. I think that's the best thing I can leave people with, is just being more honest. I think America, from there's kind of a couple sides to America, but there's the more dominant culture, white supremacy side of America. Then you have kind of like the side that's fighting that, black people, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. There's kind of like these two different forces. Um, the dominant culture likes to lie. Dominant culture is really all about like, hey, live your life, don't worry too much about everything. Everything's going to be fine, right? And we see this not being true with so many things. Like, if you just accept the mainstream media and what they're telling you, you're not going to be in a good place, and so being honest and seeing that, like, a lot of people are incentivized to lie to you. Like, the media doesn't have to be honest to you. Like, that's not happening right now. And so understanding, like, they're getting paid to lie, and most of the people that you see on social media, they're incentivized to say these things. All these famous people, like, they're making money somehow. You got to realize, like, you're how they're making money, the shit you're buying from them. And a lot of that isn't about honesty. A lot of things we're seeing online, it's not about honesty. It's about getting clicks. It's about getting seen. And you don't have to be honest to be seen or get clicks. You just have to be outrageous, or say something that's going to spread around. And so I think what's going to really help everybody as AI comes into the picture is honesty.
Mm. How does AI stack on that?
Because AI is makes everything very, it makes it very easy to lie. Like, I could I could take this whole video of me and you talking, and I could clip out just you, and I could turn your voice into an AI voice, and I could have you say all types of things you didn't say. That exists now. We live in a world where you can see my lips moving, and you can make that say whatever you want it to say, and that's not true, right? So it's like, so you being in a place of truth is going to be very, very important, because it's going to happen. Like, they're going to have, everybody's going to come through with these like new lies, like, oh, Trump said this, and you're gonna be like, oh man, like, he might not have said at this time. You see what I'm saying? Like, because AI is so good now, or you see somebody do something but they did not do that, like, that's all at play for the first time ever. And it's like, we're at the beginning. It's just gonna keep getting better and better. Like, you see what I'm
So in
saying?
the
Like,
so for the so in a way, the answer to your question is to create something we have to create the positivity for the future of 2024, because this scaling technology is just coming in so fast. The frequency of the future is going to be what we choose, in a way.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
hearing.
and it's like positivity. I think gotta think really deeply about what that means. That, again, that goes to being honest. Positivity to me is about things like family, God, taking care of our community, and so, but to some people, positive might be like getting a bag, and buying everything they want, and where it's like, I think positivity, let's get to the truth of what that means. Like, what's it mean to be positive? And this is the year of Cat Williams, Diddy, all these things are happening. Truths
True.
are coming to the table. And so I think, that's, again, it's just like, that's positive, like, being honest is positive. Even if it's hard, it's positive, because nobody wants to live in a lie. That, the golden rule is treat people how you want to be treated. And I don't think anybody wants to be lied to and living in that environment. So I think just being more and more and more in truth is going to help everybody.
Awesome. Awesome. I think that's a strong place to end this conversation. So, for anyone
Sir.
who wants to, learn more about you, Enrico, where can they, tap in, find
Yeah.
more, and all of
Yeah,
that
you
stuff?
You can find me on the socials. I'm on Instagram, Twitter at Enrico Moses, and yeah, just hit me up.
Okay, definitely. You should if you're seeing this. He's a special human being. And Enrico, thank you for hopping on. Another great conversation as always. I'm glad we finally got one of our like talks on camera.
Yeah,
Um,
me too. It was good.
yeah,
Thanks for
and
having me, my brother.
no problem, bro. Like seriously, we did so much in this conversation that was like off the cuff. I have a whole series of questions I didn't even ask. So we gotta do it again in
Yeah,
the future.
we'll double back, most def.
100%. So, signing off today, but appreciate you, bro.
Yes, sir.
And talk soon.
For sure.